Hi there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. Well, it's time to pay attention to my old Impala. We have changed the transmission fluid. I bought this car when it had 52,000 miles on it. And I also changed the transmission fluid at 52,000 miles when I've got it. Because I'm a big proponent of, every 50,000 miles minimum, you need to change transmission fluid. That was a guidance from a very reputable transmission repair place near where I used to live, and I've been following that ever since, and I've had, let's just call it good luck. Now, I also write in paint pen here when I change my transmission, as far as the mileage. So I know I changed it at 52, and I did it at 103, but then I had to do it again at 124,600, and I did that when I changed all the solenoids in the transmission when it was had some shifting problems, and I want to discuss that a little bit. What it was doing is occasionally I'd be at a four-way stop or a stoplight, and I'd go to take off, and it would rev up a little bit instead of just taking off smooth. It'd rev up, and all of a sudden here go kunk and drop into gear and go. Nothing severe, but it was doing that. And then I noticed it got a little worse, and my first to second and second to third shift changes coming up a hill or slight grade or anything like that. I could see kind of doing a hunt and peck or hunt and seek or whatever you want to call it, trying to go between first and second and third. And my transmission fluid has always been pink. No burnt fluid, no dark, dirty fluid. It's always been pink. And if I pull it out right now, the transmission fluid is still bright pink, clean, no cloudiness, no anything on the dipstick or anything like that. The transmission pan has always been very clean on the bottom. Very light, let's call it a dusting of clutches. You're getting clutches in there, right? And very light dusting of clutches. Things will wear, but there's a difference between normal wear and excessive wear. What I've experienced has been what I would call normal wear. Now, people have asked me when I did the work on the transmission with the solenoids, and I'll leave a link to that video down below. So if you want to look in the description, you can go to that video. For people that have the 460 TE or 460 TE, I'll leave that right here. Transmission, and these are notorious for having this issue. You hit 100 to 120,000 miles. This one happened to be around 123,000 miles is when I noticed it, or 120 maybe. And over the next 4,000 miles, it gradually got a little bit worse. Then I did the solenoid change out, and it's been fine ever since. And it's officially been, since I released that video and did this work, it's officially been 50,000 miles. And it's been working flawlessly. It's been doing everything it should do, and it's time for me to change the transmission fluid again. And there again, like I said, I write it down in paint pen here. And the other important information here is on every vehicle takes a little bit different amount of transmission fluid to top it back off. This one I've got marked as 8 quarts. So when I drain this pan and I dump in 8 more quarts. I also check it with the dipstick after the fact. But 8 quarts has been the magic number to get this thing topped off full again. And we'll be good for another 50,000 miles. And, that's going to take her well over, because we're at 174,100 miles right now. And that's going to take me well over 200,000 miles if this whole thing holds together. And this engine has ran great since I've had it. There again, I changed my oil. I used the oil life management system on the dash. Some people go, I wouldn't trust that. Well, I run full synthetic Mobil 1 engine oil in my engines. And yes, I can trust that. This thing, the oil life management system on these vehicles are designed to run, well, as long as you're running the proper grade of oil and the proper oil, it could be conventional or synthetic, full synthetic. And that oil life management is designed around making sure, you don't destroy your engine. Some of you might even go as far as to say that, oh, you can't trust that. That's just the automakers. They're making you change it, way longer than it should take, and it's going to wear out your engine. Well, I got 124,000 miles or 174,000 miles on this engine now, and it still starts and runs and drives and does everything it's supposed to. I just changed the spark plugs, at 120-some thousand miles. Original spark plugs, and I put the original style plug back in it. Even bought spark plug wires because I was going to change them out, but they haven't deteriorated. It still runs good. I still get, on the highway, I can get 27 to 30 miles per gallon out on the interstate running 75 and 80 miles an hour. So I think it's still okay. it does consume a little bit of oil. Between oil changes of about 6 to 6,500 miles, it'll consume just about a full quart. That's okay. That amount of consumption does not worry me whatsoever. I get about halfway through my oil life management, you know, gets down to 50%. I'll check it, and yeah, it needs a half a quart. I'll dump a half a quart in. By the time I get to the oil change time, it's down about another half a quart. It's time to change. So that's not bad at all. Some people might panic over that. Not this guy, not even a little bit. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look after, you know, after this 50,000 miles on this transmission repair job that I did on here, and give you some update as to how it's doing. We're going to pull the pan off. We're going to pull the pan off, change the transmission filter, and top it back off. And we're going to look in the pan together, and I'll show you what it looks like, and show you if I've got some concerns at this point, or if, you know, everything looks normal, what normal looks like, hopefully. If it's abnormal, I'll show you what abnormal looks like. But I've had a lot of people ask me, you think this will fix my transmission doing those solenoids? And I'm like, I don't know the condition of your transmission. Have you abused it? I drive like an old man. And but have you abused it? Have you not changed it? Has it ever been changed? Has it got 150,000 miles on it and it's never been changed? There's a lot of factors. Does your transmission fluid look dark and burnt? Does it smell bad? All those are factors that weigh into whether this will or won't work for your particular vehicle. I have people ask me all the time. People ask me to leave a list of the parts that I used on my transmission. I will do it in this video, but that's not a guarantee that these will all work on your car, but they might. If you want to take a chance and buy all these ones I bought, I replaced it with all AC Delco stuff. I didn't buy any aftermarket type of solenoids in there. Yes, the AC Delco did fail. You know, finally was starting to fail pretty hard, we call it, at 124,000 miles. I did this work on it, and if I can get another 124,000 miles on a car that's paid for about $350 worth of parts, you betcha I'll do that. And you guys out there that love seeing the outboard stuff and the boat stuff, sorry, this video is not about that. But there has been over 100,000 views on my transmission repair video, and tons and tons of thank you for showing us that video at Fix My Car. That's why I do this stuff. I started YouTube as a how-to, and yes, the focus is heavily on boat stuff, but the how-to is the how-to could help anybody out there, you know, like I do and everybody else does. When you got a problem, you go to YouTube University and start learning what you need to do, and if it's a job you want to tackle, or it's like, okay, this is better left to the professionals, it helps you guys make those smart decisions in the long run. All right, let's get under here. We're going to drop the pan, and let's see what this stuff looks like coming out, and we're going to see what the pan looks like. Pop a new filter. This isn't a crazy long video. Actually, me talking here is probably longer than it's going to take to do the whole job, possibly. All right, let's get underneath the car. Hopefully the sound comes through okay on this. I've got the mic kind of mounted underneath the car. So there's not a lot of room under here for a fellow like me with this thing just on the car ramps. So what I like to do here is the shape of the pan's kind of teardrop shaped. So what I'll do is I'll take out the bolts on this side first and start working my way around until it starts dripping, and then I'll pull this oil pan underneath here to catch some stuff. And I've got a 10mm socket. Make sure you're using an impact. I use an impact to uninstall, but I do not use an impact to install. And make sure you're in reverse, because one little one ugga-dug in the wrong direction, you just snap these right off. Ask me how I know. See it starting to drip right there? I'll pull in and start catching right there. And what I do is I just work my way around in order to control the drippage, because these things are just messy. Now, like some of the other cars I've worked on, where it's nice to actually have a, what do you want to call it, a drain plug on the transmission, and it has a screw-on filter. That's your ideal situation. Okay, I've got them all off around the end here. And here I'm working my way around. As you can see, it'll start picking up this pace here. Oops, I can't get to that one yet. Let's see here. You will invariably get some down where you don't want it. So this transmission fluid is pretty pink yet. As you can see, it's got some wear and tear on it. It's got 50,000 miles of, you know, hydraulic type action going on there, and lubrication. And this is where it'd be nice to have that car hoist and one of those big fancy catch pans like the professionals have. So be patient. I like to let it just sit there and drain a little bit. Now these last 4 out of 5 I got over here, I'll just back them off a little bit is all. A little loose, a little loose. Oh, and then you have that. I went a little too far with that one. Well, that was the gush. Looks like I'll have to get out the cat litter. That's the last one. There's always going to be a little bit left in there. This thing will continue to drip and drip and drip, literally for days if you let it. Now we need to get this oil filter or this transmission filter out of here, and that's just a matter of, I like to pry just a little bit here. You can see there's a lot of fluid still going to come out. And don't get crazy with prying on this, guys, but just get yourself enough leverage there that you can work it out. Just applying a little bit of pressure, a little bit of wiggle. There she comes. Now this will come with a new seal, like here, that goes up in here. You saw how tight that one was. There's nothing wrong with how that's sealing, so I'm just going to reuse it. Some of you might be cringing right now, but that's okay. Cringe. Because you see how tight this is going to go back in. Very tight. Very tight, which is good. It came out tight. Again, as you saw, I had to wiggle it a lot to get it out, and had to wiggle a lot to get it back in. New filters installed. That's not going anywhere. If yours just fell out, it's time to get a new seal up in there. But if yours comes out like that, your seal's probably pretty darn good, just like that one was. All right, next step is I like to go around and wipe the perimeter down and get the perimeter gasket area pretty darn clean. And back here you're going to see it's always going to be wet and drippy. Nothing you can do about that. But we just want to make sure there's no grit or grime or anything that's going to prevent your gasket from sealing up really well. Alright, here's what the pan looks like. As you can see, there's a little bit of a, let's just call it a dust trail at best. There's no heavy sludge in the bottom of this. There's no, you know, if you had thick, heavy, black sludge that looked like these magnets all over the bottom of this, that might be a bigger problem. Right now, what you see on these magnets is very light amount of anything on them. They're really clean. Just got to remember where they go, right? But yeah, and the gasket, this gasket was in, you know, it's a metal lined gasket. It was in good shape, but my kit comes with a brand new gasket, so I don't need that. We'll go ahead and get the old solvent tank now. What else? Other things that work really good for cleaning up these things is just plain old brake cleaner. It leaves a nice, clean, dry surface when it's done. And sometimes I've been known to clean stuff like this and then shoot it with brake cleaner, and it evaporates and gets rid of any oily residue that this might actually leave behind. But as you can see, very little residue in the bottom of these pans at all. We'll go ahead and clean up the magnets too. Got to make sure those are nice and clean when we put them back in. Once you get them clean, take your paper towel and dry them off, and try to drag off any magnetic stuff that's still stuck to it. Now granted, what's stuck to it will stay stuck to it, but get it as clean as you can. I like to keep wiping it until my paper towel just comes off clean, and then you're good to go. I always like to clean up the bolts too, because the head of the bolts are all gritty from being outside in the grime. And granted, my engine isn't as, you know, it doesn't drip anything on the driveway, but it's damp down there. That's okay. It's got a lot of miles on it. I find just a regular screen like this that you can buy just about everywhere, and your solvent tank, you can just sit there and just swish these around and get them pretty darn clean. Then you blow them dry with air and you're ready to go back together. Once they're clean and dry, I just go ahead and put them back in a paper towel to take back out to the car. In case any of you were wondering what gasket kit I'm using, this is from Napa 1-5927 General Motors. That's the transmission is a Ford T60-E. That's what I've been using. Replaces AC, replaces Fram, replaces all that stuff. But yeah, you got to be careful getting it out of the package. They blister seal it up pretty good. Be careful taking it out. Don't bend it. It's got metal inside and it'll bend. And you don't want your gasket to have a bend in it. You want it to be as flat as possible when you're putting it on to give it a, because it's got ribs on it and all that fun stuff. So it holds its shape really well. We can do a little test fit here to make sure we got the right gasket. Sure enough, looks like it. Fits like a charm. We're ready to hold that back up in place and put all our bolts back in and just give them a good snugging. Don't get crazy with it. I'm not going to give you guys the foot pounds, inch pounds. You can look that up if need be. I have always just hand tightened these, and I just got a feel for it, so I wouldn't even be able to give you a clue as to what they should be tightened to. But as you can see, it's ribbed on both sides, double ribbed around the bolts and everything. It's a nice gasket. And as you can see underneath the other one, my transmission has never been touched since I changed it last time. It was still topped off full when I checked it in park at an idle the other day. And it's like, cool, it's still full, still looks good. Time for the change. Now that it's done doing a lot of dripping, I'll take one last pass around here just to dry up the seal surface. just so I get a good dry installation for the most part. It doesn't have to be 1000% perfect. That right there will do just fine. Now with your clean hands and a couple of clean bolts in your hands, we'll go ahead and put the pan back on. And try not to touch anything or let anything fall in your pan while you're trying to do this. So me, I like to get a bolt in my hand and get one started through the hole here. And then we'll get it kind of lined up and go up in place, and let's get one started. And they should all screw in by hand. So I'll get that one snugged up by hand, then I'll go over to another corner a ways away from it and get that one started and go in by hand, and then the rest of it's history. Boy, those nice clean bolts sure screw in nice. I don't feel any grit or anything. That's a good thing. I'm just hand tight right now. This is where I get arm pump really bad, because your right arm gets, or left arm, whichever one you're using, gets really tired of doing this. Actually, from here, what I'll do is, since I got those other two kind of snug, and you just want to get everything started before you snug things down. I'm just going to start them all, and then I'll use my little ratchet. Now, what I'm about to do not do. Unless you're really familiar with your impact gun, I'm just running these up till they touch, just to save me a lot of finger twisting time. Like I said, you can go too far and bolts will break right off, or you strip your hole out. This just saves me a lot of finger and arm fatigue. Where are you? Now what I have here is a modified 1/4-inch drive. When I say modified, yes, the handle's been shortened. But so now I can just go around and give these all about the same amount of torque. You're just squishing that gasket down so that gasket can do its job. You're not trying to make the pan itself seal against the metal to metal. Let the gasket do its work. That's why I say I don't know what the inch pounds here I'm tightening it to. It's just a feel you develop over years of doing stuff like this. And I'll just go around 2 or 3 times doing this, getting the same feel all the way around. That's good. We're good. We're all good. Yep. Now I'll take a last wipe around things just to get any of the residual drippage or splashage or anything I did while draining this thing, just so it doesn't attract a whole bunch of dirt and dust. You kind of gotta like this aluminum chassis. It just cleans up nice. There. We're good to go. Let's put some transmission fluid back in it. You ever wake up in the morning and wonder why they make those really long funnels? This is why. So you can get down and do stuff like this. Now some of you might be asking, Michael, look how pretty and pink that is. What kind of transmission fluid do you use? Well, I'll tell you. It's easy. what the vehicle recommends you use. And this recommends Dextron type. If you look on the dipstick here, it'll actually tell you on a lot of vehicles if you have a dipstick. If you're fortunate enough to have a dipstick for your transmission, it says check in park, engine idling, vehicle level, trans hot must be in crosshatch. Which you got a crosshatch down here, right? And it says do not overfill, Dextron 6, which is a VI. Dextron 6 fluid only. What do I have here? Automatic transmission fluid, Dextron 6. And I use Napa. Why? Because it's reasonably priced. And that's all I've ever used here. And it's working just fine. And some people, oh, you only want to use GM, official G. No. This is fine. And you can do what you want to do. It's your car. This is my car. This is what I do. Mercury, how you doing, buddy? You staying out of trouble? Huh? You staying out of trouble? Yeah? I know there's a lot of people out there that aren't cat people. I'm not necessarily a cat person myself, but come on, look at this guy. You want to help me with my car? Now these guys will hang around underneath my vehicles and different things, and some people might think, oh, be careful. These cats, you fire up the engine, they disappear pretty quick. And they also help keep the mice from chewing on my wires. But yeah, this little guy's called Oreo. He's about, what is he now, 4 months old?
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3 months old, somewhere in that range. He's one of, let's just call it 12 to 13 cats around here. The marina, you got to keep some of these things. You got to keep a ton of rat poison on hand, or you got to have a few cats. And they'll keep the mice population in check for you. And occasionally, they'll bring them in your house. And cats are, let's just say it out loud, they're sadistic creatures. If you see them playing with a mouse, what they do is just cruel. But that's their nature. What are we up to? 6? This is quart number 6. Now we'll fire it back up like I've done here. We'll go back underneath and we'll look for any leaks. And typically if you do a good job, she should be pretty dry like that. You're not going to see any minor leaks in a short amount of time. But if you did something wrong, you'd see something dripping pretty quick once she's all full, which we're all good and full now. Awesome. Well, we're getting ready to go take this out for a test run. And I'll report out if anything's wrong, but chances are nothing's wrong. This is what I've been doing for quite a few years. But I hope that was informative and helpful for a lot of you folks out there that own these Impalas with that particular transmission in it. There again, this is a big report out 50,000 miles later as an update. And that's 3 years ago, just to give you a time frame of when I originally did it to now. And pretty tickled with how it turned out. And I'm glad it's fixed, because normally a complete transmission is pretty darn expensive, and to pay somebody to do just that job can be pretty darn expensive. Most people won't just do the solenoid things at the transmission shops, I don't think. They want to rebuild your transmission because, you know, everything's got 124,000 miles on it. Last but not least, I've got to write down the mileage on my car so I can keep track of it so I know when the next 50,000 miles hits. All right, folks, I hope you found this video informative and helpful. Don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, it costs you nothing to sign up for YouTube, and just subscribe. And then you can give me the thumbs up and all kinds of stuff and help grow my channel some more and keep things going. And don't worry, got more boat stuff coming pretty quick, pretty darn quick. This is just one of those, I had to throw something in here, and it's a job that I needed to do, and it's going to help somebody out there. I guarantee it will. All right, this is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. We'll see you in the next video. I'm out of here.